Good morning, StartupGrind Mauritius. We are here at the co-working in Port-Louis. We are very pleased to welcome Sylvain Forté, the CEO of SesaMm, a fintech based in France. We are in Mauritius to talk about big data and AI into the finance industry. So let's go. So we are happy to receive tonight Sylvain Forté from France, who came to Mauritius for his African trip. Yeah. And Sylvain, so you are one of the great fintech in France.
Thank you.
And we are happy to receive you in Mauritius for StartupGrind. So can you perhaps introduce yourself and tell us what are you doing in the fintech industry and why you are here?
Sure. Before starting personally, I actually represent here SesaMm, which I co-founded with two other colleagues in 2014, 4 years ago now. We're a fintech that is active in the field of big data and artificial intelligence for asset management, which means that we're providing services to banks, to hedge funds, to asset managers, insurers worldwide. And what we're concretely doing is we're extracting billions of information from the web, social media, news, blogs, forum, and we're creating e-reputation indicators that help asset managers and banks make better investment decisions, limit risk, or create investment strategies, for example. On my side, I'm actually an engineer, so I started the project as a developer in order to create the technologies initially, and then I started communicating about this, speaking with clients, trying to meld their needs and transform them into actual projects and actual product functionalities. And so I'm actually here in Mauritius because we're developing our activities worldwide. We're very active in the US, very active in Asia and in Europe. We have clients there. And the objective is to discover the potential of Africa and Mauritius in order to promote our technologies and product. And from what we encountered in the last few days, there is a lot of potential. And specifically, we believe that in the asset management market in Africa, there is a need for additional information. These are, let's say, assets that are less well known, for which there may be less information available on traditional platforms like Bloomberg or Reuters, which means that e-reputation and social media information may be very relevant to asset managers in order to make decisions.
Okay, so perhaps can you define what is big data, alternative data,
sure,
and also smart data, because I think we are all lost in all the buzzword which is big data. So can you tell us more exactly what you're doing?
Okay, I won't try to give a proper definition of big data, so I'll just copy one. Usually big data is described at 3 or 4 different V's. So the first one is volume, which means there is a large volume of data that is generated. The second one is variety, which means that big data in most cases implies processing data that is unstructured, that is difficult to analyze, and that may be text, video, audio, numbers, many different things. The last thing is big data is actually velocity, so the ability to process that data with speed. And this problem is actually encountered in financial markets because you need to make a decision right now. And if you have billions of messages and articles to analyze, you need a technology that is really, really fast. Alternative data is a field that is really proper to the financial markets. So it's a field that has been growing very, very rapidly, especially in the US over the past few years. And it includes any type of data which is different from traditional finance. So from traditional market prices, or from volume, or from the financials of a company, or any public information. So we are looking at information that is, for example, text data, at what we do at SesaMm, but also satellite data, a credit card data, all of the information that was not used before in financial market. And the goal, obviously, is to gather information that provides higher returns, that limits risk, simply because you know the company that you're investing in much better.
Okay. So I think you came to Mauritius because we are a strong financial sector.
Sure.
So who is your target, and can you perhaps talk about the study case?
Sure. So we're always looking at large financial hubs with actors that aim at innovating, and we believe that this is the case here in Mauritius. We're targeting small funds, and we encountered some of them in the past few days, but we're also targeting very large banks. So we have projects with Société Générale, for example, with La Française in France, which is part of Crédit Mutuel. So we know how to deal with these different types of companies. I'll give you one example of use case that we are performing for an asset managers. One of our traditional projects for an asset managers is First, using machine learning as a technology in order to make market decisions. So using machine learning on their own data and benchmarking this technology in order to show them that it actually makes sense to use machine learning as a technology. The second phase of our main projects are, let's include that sentiment and emotions data that we're extracting from this large web textual data, and let's confirm that this actually brings additional value for that specific use case. And a simple use case is creating an equity portfolio, so investing in here Mauritius companies and trying to optimize the returns on that portfolio, trying to limit the risk to the volatility using machine learning and alternative data. So that's a very, very classical use case for us, and that's really what we are proposing as part of a platform and as part of some services that we are providing to these investors.
Okay. And all the R&D is based in France?
The R&D is actually based in France. We have commercial activities worldwide, but we have actually one office that is in Metz, in the eastern part of France, with some partnership with local labs. And this is our natural language processing and IT development team, so the big data part. And then we have an office in Paris that is dedicated to quantitative finance and to data science in order to create these use cases for clients.
And can you talk about intelligence artificial? Are you using it, or are you using the machine learning to let it learn?
It's a very, very large topic. We're passionate about artificial intelligence, so I won't spend 3 hours right now describing everything. But to make it very simple, artificial intelligence is a large range of different tasks. So there is image recognition or analysis, natural language processing, etc., etc. The common denominator in most cases is that artificial intelligence tends to use machine learning. It's actually just a block of that technology, and machine learning is nothing else than an optimization task from a mathematical point of view. So we use machine learning in order to create natural language processing use cases, so text analysis use cases, and these use cases allow us to create the data that we provide to asset managers and banks. So it's a very large scope of analysis, but we are using both machine learning and some other technologies in order really to perform natural language processing tasks.
Okay. And let's talk about how do you see the future in the next couple of years. The technology is going rapidly, and so what is your future, and how do you see the future of the finance industry with all this algorithm and all this AI and big data?
I will speak in that case about capital markets mostly, which is really our specialty. I won't be able to evaluate anything in the payment world or anything else. But in terms of capital market, there are two current trends. One is cost cutting, and it's major, it's drastic right now. So any bank is trying to optimize its costs, which means to limit the number of portfolio managers, etc. This is the trend of robo-advising, and this is a trend that is scary in some cases for a lot of different companies. We're not in that trend. We're in the other part, which is let's augment the quality of the services that we are providing to clients. And this is rather the augmented human part of the artificial intelligence world. So what we are trying to do is it's to say it's normal that you have high costs because you're paying for a service that is of very high quality and that is using very concrete artificial intelligence technologies in order to optimize your returns. And if we are able to provide better returns, to provide better services, it makes sense that you're paying a lot for that. That's really the trend that we are in. And I really hope that it'll continue in that direction. I don't believe that the whole world should be completely digitalized, but I think that people should have the right tool in order to continue to make better decisions, very informed decisions.
Okay. And so you are in Africa, your first country is Mauritius.
Yep.
What is your next country you're going to now?
We're actually going next week to South Africa, which is also a major financial hub. So we spoke with a lot of companies here, and we also saw some traction. The goal for us is to continue to evaluate Africa as a whole, Mauritius and South Africa, but other countries too, in order to potentially open a subsidiary in the future. We're currently very active in the US, opening a subsidiary there. We'll probably open in Japan in a year or so. And we're trying to see what's the next step, and probably Africa may be one of the next steps for us.
I really think Africa should be the next step because Africa is a booming country, and in Mauritius we'll be happy to receive you and to have a fintech.
Thank you very much.
The government is very bullish to talk about blockchain, fintech, and I'm sure that we can help you to settle with Pierre Grandjean, a company here in Mauritius.
Great, and I want to mention also that we're also active in digital assets, so cryptocurrency, for example. I saw that the government is moving in the right direction regarding this, so I think that'll make the place even more attractive in the future, and I'm very happy about this.
Okay, so if you want to know more, so we'll have to look at the video, which is going to be on air in 1 week, and if you want to know more, perhaps you can give your URL.
Sure. So it's www.SesaMm.com, and SesaMm is SesaMm.
Thank you, Sylvain.
Thank you very much. Thank you.